My girlfriend organized a family trip, but only bought tickets for her kids. When I asked her where my daughter would sit, she shrugged and said she could stay with her grandmother. I'm 42M and have been dating my girlfriend, Cassandra, 39F, for a little over 2 years. We both have children from previous marriages. I have my 10-year-old daughter, Emma, and she has 2 kids, Tyler, 14, and Mia, 12. For context, my ex-wife and I share custody of Emma, but I have her most weekends and holidays because my ex travels frequently for work. Cassandra has primary custody of her children, and her ex has them every other weekend. I thought our blended family situation was going well. The kids get along reasonably well, normal sibling squabbles, but nothing serious. Emma is a little shy and quieter than Cassandra's more outgoing children, but she's always been respectful and tries to fit in. I've always made an effort to treat Tyler and Mia as my own, taking them to activities, helping with homework, and generally being present in their lives. Cassandra moved into my house about 8 months ago, along with her kids. I have a 4-bedroom house that I bought after my divorce, so everyone has their own space. Emma has her own room where she stays when she's with me, decorated exactly how she likes it. I've always been firm that even though Emma isn't with us all the time, this is very much her home too. Anyway, let's get to the situation that led to my petty revenge. About 2 months ago, Cassandra mentioned wanting to plan a spring trip to Florida. Her parents have a condo in Orlando, and she thought it would be fun to visit the theme parks for a week. I thought it was a great idea and told her I'd coordinate with my ex to make sure Emma could join us for the whole week, as it would overlap with some of her mom's usual time. Cassandra said she'd handle all the bookings since she was familiar with the area and knew which parks the kids would enjoy most. I offered to split the costs 50-50, but she insisted on covering the flights because she had a lot of airline points to use, and I could cover the theme park tickets to balance it out. That seemed fair to me. Over the next few weeks, she'd occasionally mention booking this restaurant or that attraction, and I'd see her researching things on her laptop. I was busy with a major project at work, so I was grateful that she was handling the planning. Emma was excited too. She'd never been to Florida before, and I caught her watching YouTube videos about the different attractions and rides. About 3 weeks before the trip, I was checking my calendar to schedule some work meetings, and I realized I didn't have the flight details. I asked Cassandra what time our flights were so I could block off the right days in my calendar. "Oh, we leave at 10 a.m. on Saturday the 13th, returning the following Saturday evening," she said casually. "Great. Can you forward me the confirmation?" "I want to make sure everything is in my calendar correctly," I replied. She hesitated slightly. "I haven't forwarded it to my email yet. It's just in my airline account." Something in her response made me uneasy. So that night, while she was in the shower, I asked to use her laptop to check some work emails. Mine was charging. While I had it open, I decided to check her airline account to see the booking details. That's when I discovered she'd only booked 4 tickets, 1 for her, 1 for Tyler, 1 for Mia, and 1 for me. There was no ticket for Emma. I was confused and thought maybe she'd made a separate booking for Emma for some reason. I waited until she got out of the shower and asked her directly. "Hey, I was looking at the flight confirmation, and I only see 4 tickets. Where's Emma's?" She gave me this look, not exactly guilt, more like annoyance at being questioned. Then she said, "Oh, I didn't book 1 for her. I thought she could stay with her grandma that week." I was stunned. "What do you mean? This is a family trip. Emma is part of this family." Cassandra shrugged. "Well, she's only with us part-time anyway, and my parents' condo only has 3 bedrooms, 1 for us, 1 for Tyler, and 1 for Mia. There's no room for Emma unless she sleeps on the pull-out couch in the living room, which would be inconvenient for everyone. Didn't you think to discuss this with me before making this decision?" I asked, trying to keep my voice level despite my rising anger. Honestly, I didn't think it was a big deal. She's with her mom half the time anyway, so she's used to not being included in everything we do. Plus, the tickets were expensive, and I only had enough points for 4. I was speechless. My daughter was used to not being included, and if the points were the problem, why not tell me so I could pay for her ticket directly? This isn't acceptable, I said firmly. Emma is my daughter, and if we're going on a family trip, she's coming with us. I'll buy her ticket. Cassandra rolled her eyes slightly. Fine, but I don't know where she'll sleep, and we've already planned all the activities for the 4 of us. That's when it hit me. This wasn't an oversight. She had intentionally planned this trip without Emma. All those weeks of planning had been with the assumption that my daughter wouldn't be there. I simply nodded and said, I'll figure something out. And that's exactly what I did. After that conversation, I did a lot of thinking. This wasn't the first time Cassandra had subtly marginalized Emma, but it was certainly the most blatant. There had been smaller incidents, forgetting to include Emma's preferences when grocery shopping, planning movie nights with films Emma wouldn't enjoy when she was with us, accidentally scheduling activities with her friends and her kids on weekends when Emma was home. I'd addressed these issues previously, and Cassandra always had an excuse or claimed I was being too sensitive. But this, deliberately excluding my daughter from a family vacation, crossed a line I couldn't ignore. So, I formulated my plan. I didn't confront Cassandra again about the trip. Instead, I silently canceled my ticket for the flight she had booked. The airline gave me a credit I could use later. Then I booked 2 new tickets for Emma and me to go to San Diego instead of Orlando, same dates, but a completely different destination. I'd always wanted to take Emma to the San Diego Zoo and SeaWorld, and she'd been begging to see the ocean. I booked a nice hotel right on the beach. I made reservations at some kid-friendly restaurants and planned a whole itinerary centered on things Emma would enjoy. I didn't tell Cassandra any of this. As far as she knew, I was still going to Florida with them. However, I did call my ex-wife to coordinate and make sure she knew about the change of plans. She was fully supportive and even suggested some activities in San Diego that Emma would enjoy. In the weeks leading up to the trip, whenever Cassandra mentioned anything about Florida, I just nodded or gave a non-committal answer. I packed separate suitcases for Emma and me and kept them in my car so Cassandra wouldn't notice. The night before our departure, I told Emma about our special trip. I explained that it would just be the 2 of us going to California instead of Florida with Cassandra and her kids. Emma was ecstatic. She had been a little apprehensive about the Florida trip anyway, since Tyler and Mia had been teasing her about having to sleep on a couch. On the morning of the trip, we all went to the airport together in my car, Cassandra, her 2 kids, Emma, and me. Cassandra's flight to Orlando was scheduled for 10 a.m., while our flight to San Diego was at 11:30 a.m. We entered the terminal together, and I guided everyone towards the airline check-in counters. Cassandra headed straight for her airline's counter, and I simply said, "See you at the gate." I led Emma to a different airline counter to check in for our San Diego flight. After getting our boarding passes and checking our luggage, we grabbed breakfast at an airport restaurant. By the time we finished eating, it was almost time for Cassandra to board. I texted her, "Which gate are you at? We're going to say goodbye before your flight." She responded with her gate number, clearly assuming we were just running late, but still joining them. Emma and I walked towards her gate. When we arrived, Cassandra looked relieved, then confused when she saw we didn't have any luggage with us. "Where are your bags?" she asked. "They're about to start boarding." I smiled and said, "Oh, we're not on this flight." Her eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" "Of course you are," I corrected. "Emma and I are going to San Diego. Since you didn't think it was important to include my daughter in your family vacation, we decided to make our own trip." Her face went through a range of emotions: shock, anger, embarrassment. Tyler and Mia were staring at us with wide eyes. "You can't be serious," she hissed, trying to keep her voice down as people around us began to notice the tension. "Get on this flight right now." "That's not possible," I replied calmly. "I canceled my ticket weeks ago. My seat's probably been given to someone else by now. And besides, Emma and I have our own plans." You're ruining everything, she spat, no longer caring who heard. What am I supposed to tell my parents? They're expecting all of us. Tell them the truth, I suggested. Tell them you deliberately excluded my daughter from a family trip and assumed I'd be okay with it. Just then, the gate agent announced the start of boarding for her flight. Cassandra looked frantically between the gate and me, clearly torn between continuing the argument and getting on the plane. We have to go, Tyler said to his mother, clearly uncomfortable with the scene. This conversation isn't over, Cassandra warned me. You're embarrassing me in front of the whole airport. I shrugged. You embarrassed yourself when you decided my daughter wasn't part of your family. Have a good trip. I took Emma's hand, and we walked away as Cassandra fumed behind us. Emma squeezed my hand and whispered, "Thank you, Dad." We had an amazing time in San Diego. Emma saw the ocean for the first time. We spent 2 days at the zoo and another at SeaWorld, and we even took a day trip to Legoland. It was probably the best vacation I've ever had, simply because I got to spend quality time with my daughter without anyone making her feel like an afterthought. While we were in San Diego, Cassandra bombarded me with texts and calls. At first, they were angry. How could you do this to me? My parents are disappointed. The kids keep asking where you are. Then manipulative, Tyler is crying because he misses you, which I doubted. And finally, pleading, please come join us. We can work this out. I responded minimally, usually sending something short like, Emma and I are having a great time, with a picture of us on the beach or at the zoo. When we got back home, I found that Cassandra and her kids had extended their stay in Florida for a few more days, presumably to avoid the confrontation that would inevitably come. I used that time to seriously reflect on our relationship. The more I reflected, the more I realized this vacation incident wasn't an anomaly. It was just the most obvious manifestation of an ongoing pattern. Cassandra always treated Emma as less important than her own children, and I'd been making excuses for her, trying to compensate in other ways instead of addressing it head-on. 3 days after our return, Cassandra and her kids came home. She tried to act normal at first, asking about our trip as if the incident at the airport never happened. But when I continued to be cold towards her, she finally addressed the issue. "Don't you think you overreacted a bit?" she asked. "You could have just told me you were upset about the ticket situation instead of humiliating me at the airport." I looked at her incredulously. "I did tell you I was upset. You dismissed my concerns, like you always do when it comes to Emma." "That's not fair," she protested. "I treat Emma well." "You tolerate her," I corrected. "There's a difference. And I can't be with someone who merely tolerates my daughter." We had a long, difficult conversation that night after the kids went to bed. I listed all the times I felt she'd sidelined Emma, and she alternated between getting defensive and offering half-hearted apologies. It became clear to me that she didn't truly see the problem. In her mind, it was natural to prioritize her own children, and she expected me to understand that. "I think you need to find somewhere else to live," I finally said. "This isn't working." She seemed genuinely surprised. "You're breaking up with me over a mistake about a vacation?" "No," I replied. "I'm breaking up with you because you don't consider my daughter part of your family, even after 2 years together. That's not something I can compromise on." It's been about 6 months since Cassandra and her kids moved out. The breakup was messy. She tried everything from tears to threats, and even mutual friends interceded on her behalf. But I stood firm, and eventually, she accepted that it was over. Emma has been noticeably happier since then. She's coming out of her shell more, talks more freely about her feelings, and seems more comfortable in her own home. She admitted that she always felt like she was walking on eggshells around Cassandra, trying not to take up too much space or ask for too much attention. It broke my heart to hear that, but it also confirmed I'd made the right decision. Some friends and family have suggested I overreacted. After all, Cassandra and I had been building a life together for 2 years. Wouldn't it have been better to try therapy or find some other kind of compromise? But for me, there is no compromise when it comes to my daughter's well-being and her sense of belonging. Emma deserves to feel fully included and valued in her own home and by the people in her father's life. For my part, I'm focusing on being the best dad I can be. Emma and I have started a tradition of daddy-daughter days twice a month, where we do something special together, just the two of us. Sometimes, it's as simple as getting ice cream and going to the park. Other times, we take day trips to museums or hiking trails. I've started dating again recently, very casually, and I haven't introduced anyone to Emma yet. This time, I'm being much more careful about looking for someone who understands that Emma and I are a package deal, always. That Florida/San Diego trip taught me an important lesson. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for your child is to stand up for them, even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. Emma might not remember all the details of our San Diego adventure as she gets older, but I hope she'll always remember how it felt to know her dad put her first. Update. Wow, I didn't expect this post to go as viral as it did. Thank you to everyone for the supportive comments and awards. Since a lot of people have asked for an update, I thought I'd share a few things that have happened since I wrote this. First, Emma's mom, my ex-wife, reached out after reading this post. Yes, she found it. Apparently, one of her friends recognized the story and sent it to her. She thanked me for standing up for Emma and admitted that she had noticed Emma seeming withdrawn after visiting our house, but didn't want to interfere. We've had some good conversations about co-parenting and are on the same page about making sure Emma feels safe and valued in both homes. Second, believe it or not, Cassandra's ex-husband also contacted me. It turns out their marriage ended for similar reasons. He has an older son from a previous relationship, and Cassandra never fully accepted him. He said reading my post was like déjà vu. We met up for a beer and had a surprisingly therapeutic conversation about the whole situation. As for Cassandra, I've heard through mutual friends that she's telling people I was irrational and controlling, and that she dodged a bullet when we broke up. That's fine. People can believe what they want. The people who matter know the truth. Emma is thriving. Her teacher recently commented that she's become more confident and participatory in class. Last weekend, she asked if we could start planning another trip, just the two of us, for next summer. I'm thinking Yellowstone or the Grand Canyon. Thanks again for all the support, everyone. To the single parents out there, keep putting your kids first. They notice, and it matters. Edit. Many of you have asked about Tyler and Mia. Many commenters have expressed concern for Tyler and Mia, wondering if I'm still in contact with them or if I miss them. The honest answer is yes, I do miss them. Despite everything, I spent 2 years helping to raise them and I care about their well-being. I tried to maintain some contact after the breakup, sent birthday cards, inquired through mutually friendly sources how they were doing in school, etc., but Cassandra has made it clear that she doesn't want me confusing them with continued involvement. I have to respect that they are her children and I have no legal rights to them. It's one of the hardest parts of blended family breakups. The non-biological parent often loses all access to the kids they bonded with. It's painful, but I have to focus on the fact that they have 2 biological parents who love them and trust that they'll be okay. If they reach out when they're older, my door will always be open to them. But for now, I have to respect the boundaries their mother has set, even though it hurts. Final update 1 year later. It's been exactly 1 year since the airport incident, and so much has changed. I thought I'd share one last update, partly for closure and partly because many of you have continued messaging me asking how things are going. Emma is doing incredibly well. She's thriving in school, has made several new close friends, and has developed a new confidence that makes me incredibly proud. We ended up going to Yellowstone this summer, and it was even better than San Diego. She's already planning our next adventure. She's pushing hard for Hawaii, but we'll see. As for me, I've been seeing someone new for a few months. Her name is Jenna, and she has a 9-year-old son, Alex, who gets along wonderfully with Emma. The first time Jenna came over for dinner, she brought a small gift for Emma, a journal with Emma's name engraved on it. Not because it was a special occasion, but simply because she wanted Emma to feel included. It was such a small gesture, but it meant everything to me. I've been very cautious in this relationship, making sure to go slow and prioritize the kids' comfort above all else. But so far, it's been refreshing to be with someone who instinctively understands the importance of making every child feel equally valued and included. One unexpected development: Tyler, now 15, reached out to me via social media a couple of months ago. He said he missed our talks and wanted to know if we could stay in touch. After getting permission from both his mother and father, we now exchange occasional messages, mostly about his interest in computer programming, something we used to work on together. It's strictly platonic mentorship with clear boundaries, but I'm glad he felt comfortable reaching out. Cassandra and I maintain a cordial distance. We've run into each other a few times at community events, and while things are still awkward, the intense animosity has subsided. I think she finally understands why I did what I did, even though she'll never admit she was wrong. The biggest lesson I've learned through all of this is that kids are incredibly perceptive. They notice when they're being sidelined, even if they don't have the words to express it. And they also notice when someone stands up for them. The way Emma looks at me now, with complete trust that I'll always have her back, that's worth more than any relationship. To everyone who supported me in the comments and messages over the last year, thank you. Your encouragement helped me stay strong during some really tough moments. And to parents who are navigating similar situations, trust your instincts when it comes to your children's emotional well-being. You're rarely wrong. This will be my last update on this situation. We've all moved on to a new chapter now. But I'll always be grateful for the unexpected community I found here when I was just looking to vent about a little airport revenge. TLDR, my girlfriend planned a family vacation, but deliberately excluded my 10-year-old daughter. Instead of confronting her, I canceled my ticket and booked a separate trip for just me and my daughter. My girlfriend found out at the airport when we showed up to say goodbye before heading to our own gate. The incident led to our breakup when I realized she would never truly accept my daughter as part of the family.